Hi everyone, welcome. My name is Stephanie. I'm one of the volunteers from the Paul and Stephen Purpose Center, and thank you so much for joining us again. We really appreciate you wherever you are. We are located in Melbourne, in Australia. So before we start our chats, we like to acknowledge the Aboriginal people who are the original owners of this beautiful land, and we pay our respects to all their elders, past, present, and future. So today's topic is God, Here I Am, and it's all about prayer. So of course, that is how we will start. So please take a moment to put away all your busy thoughts. Our spiritual team is ready and willing to fill this moment with a vibration of peace and learning. But in order for that to be achieved, we must tune into that vibration. So if you don't mind, please close your eyes. Sit nice and comfortably. Let go for a second of the tension in your shoulders. Feel free to let them drop. Let go of any tension in your face. The easiest way to do that is to smile. When you smile, you get rid of any frowns, any clenched jaws, and it releases endorphins into our systems. Then take a deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Take another one, but do it with a sigh in the end. And one last one. Now that we have let go of our tension, or at least a little bit of it, let's start with the prayer that our beloved Jesus taught us. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. So be it. You can open your eyes again. Today's topic is based on the prayer section of the Spirit's book, which is in chapter 2, the Law of Adoration, questions 662 to 666. And, but last year I did one of these chats called The Power of Prayer. And as they're all saved and readily available, I really didn't want to go over the same things. So I decided to approach it a little bit differently. So that other time, I talked about a few fundamentals of prayer, such as what, when, how, why, to whom we should pray, whether prayer works, how it works. I went way over time. I promise to try and keep it short today. So I'm not going to go into all of that today, except to remind you of the importance of intention. So what does that mean? It means that our prayers need to come from our hearts, right? We need to take a moment and make that connection in order for our prayers to work. And last time I used an example of a website, so I'll stick with the computer analogies. If you don't take a moment to take a breath and connect to your inner self, your higher self, or your guardian angel, something greater than yourself, whatever it is that you connect with when you pray, if you don't take a moment to do that, it's like if you came in and started typing on the computer without switching it on, right? So you can do all the mechanical movements of typing, but nothing will appear on the screen. So you have to put some feeling into your prayers. the same way that you have to put the electricity or the battery for the computer to work, right? So that is really important and bad revisiting. So these days, I mean, in general, but especially if you have loved ones in Brazil, prayers and requests for prayers have really risen in people's awareness. You know, anyone who's part of a prayer group knows that it is now all the time, you know, please pray for this person, please pray for that person, because there's a lot of people in a difficult situation right now. And in times of trouble, that's when we really remember how to pray, or to pray, isn't it? But even people who don't don't have any spiritual religious affiliations, they think of prayer at that time, because when we're having a good time, it is often easy to forget to be grateful. I'm sure none of you do that, because I'm sure you start each and every day with the practice of gratefulness, but of gratitude, really, I should say. Yeah, it is really easy to forget when things go well, and then when things are tough, that's when we remember. But prayer at all times is such a beautiful act, and even more so when we pray for someone else, right? So now that we're getting so many requests for prayers, for people, for friends, for countries, for all of that, I thought it'd be interesting to talk about that, because prayer works in such a variety of ways. And for example, when you are praying for another person, right, we are sending them our energy. We are sending, if you've been to any of these chats, you know that towards the end, we do the whole vibrations thing. So we send them our vibrations, we send them our good thoughts, we send them our feelings, we send them our love. And trust me, they receive it. They receive it, and our energy that we send to them joins with their own energy and their feelings, right? And it is an amazing thing. And there have been many scientific studies done on the effects of prayer. And of course, they can only measure it physically, really, but they have done even double-blind studies, which means the person who is doing the praying doesn't know the person they're praying for, and the person who was receiving the prayers didn't know that anything was happening. And they did this in hospitals, and they found out that over time, the people who received prayers improved at a much larger proportion than the ones who didn't. And they used the health markers to measure that. So it is pretty impressive when you think that, sometimes the people who were doing the praying were just shown a name in a file or maybe a photo, or not very much to go on to. But, it is in the intention, right? If you really put your heart into it, it really doesn't matter. And so imagine the power when you're actually praying for someone you love, for someone you care for, or someone who is a loved one of someone you care for, or basically, we are really all brothers and sisters. So, whenever we see anyone in a tough situation, and we send them our good energy and our good thoughts, it is always a good thing. Always, right? And of course, there's a few little nuances to it, because some of you may say, oh yeah, but it's sometimes a bit hard to believe, because we are so limited in our understanding of things that we can't quite grasp the magnitude of the power and the strength of prayer. And it may happen that sometimes the person we are praying for is not open to it, or is not ready to it, or the negative energy far outweighs the positive. But it will always, whatever prayer we send or they receive is always going to be beneficial. It's just the degree that it will help will vary with the person's circumstances, the person's attitude, on how the prayer was done, and also because of the way we look at things. We are very focused, we are very micro, and sometimes these things happen at a very macro level, and they might not happen immediately. So maybe we think that our prayer is not working because the person didn't immediately jump up from their sickbed, but it is working. Maybe they did get a little less pain. Maybe they did feel a little bit more peace. Maybe their spirit is going to have a better journey if they do leave the body. So there is a million things that could be happening that we don't know, but we can trust and believe that the effects of prayer are always positive, always, whether we see them or whether we don't. And obviously it's not going to happen in front of us like a spell. It's always going to be something a bit more subtle, and maybe it might take time. So we really have to have that faith and that belief. Right. So I think that, with as little effort as it does take to pray, even if we are not 100% convinced that it works, but if we have, if we think that if we have the tiniest bit of hope that it might work, it's already worth doing. Because what are you losing? It's not going to take you a day. It's not going to take weeks. It takes a few minutes. It takes no effort whatsoever, right? So we pray, and then we leave it in God's hands. Like we said in the prayer at the start, that will be done. God, the higher spirits, Jesus, they know what is best. So we do our part and we leave the rest in their hands. Like Mother Teresa said, that's one of her famous phrases of that amazing woman. And she said that prayer is putting oneself in the hands of God. Right? So, and then, how I said that there are many aspects for prayer, and there'll be many more than what I touch on today. As I always mention, we only have a short amount of time, so we just sort of throw some little seeds to, of the topics. But even while you're praying for someone else, you are the first one to benefit from it, right? Because the energy of the prayer is going to flow through you before it goes to anyone else. So it's already it's already benefiting you first, even if you're not praying for yourself at that moment, right? So it benefits the other person. It benefits you first of all. So prayer has got physiological, psychological, emotional, and spiritual benefits, and probably more as well. So physically, again, there have been many studies, and it's quite proven that it calms down your cardiovascular system and it lowers your blood pressure. Obviously, if you have big issues in that area and you do one prayer, they're not going to be cured. But for that moment, it does calm down your system, right? Because most of the time in today's, most people's lives, we are racing. Even when we are sitting down and not doing much, our thoughts are racing. Sometimes we are reading something or watching something that is, it makes our heart race. It makes, our bodies, systems, they don't always know what is really happening and what is in our imagination, in our thoughts, in our memories, in what we watch. So our system is racing. When we stop and take a moment of prayer, everything slows down a little bit and it gives our body a break, right? That is, and especially if you take a moment to take a breath, to connect with your inner self or with something higher than yourself. If you take, if you, that moment of connection is really beneficial to the body. And it is so, it is so proven that people who don't have a spiritual or religious practice, they still understand that this happens. It's just that they talk about doing this through other means, such as meditation or going for a walk outside in nature. There are many ways to achieve that kind of connection, right? And prayer is one of them. And then you can, once you do achieve the moment, the pause, the connection, you can either just be in there, just be in that moment, and that will be beneficial to you, or you can imagine, like we're talking about today, using that to benefit someone else as well. Send that energy that is now being calmed down, and it's funny because we calm down and we raise our vibration, so we are able to send the energy that's a bit more positive, right? So it is good for you, for your body, for your physical, your physiological health. It is actually good for your mind. So it's got psychological benefits because prayer reduces the level of stress and anxiety. Because when you do take that moment of connection that I was just talking about, it produces feelings of peace and of well-being, right? So if you just do a prayer in a rush, it's better than not doing anything at all. But when you actually stop, even if it is 5 minutes, even it is like we did just before, when at the very start of this chat, when we just took a moment to take a breath, to relax and to say a few words, if most of you stopped multitasking and stopped thinking about your to-do lists and the rest of your weekend and everything else that we worry about, if you really stopped, even if we took only a couple of minutes, most of the time you will have felt a little bit better already, right? So it doesn't take that long to bring that feeling of well-being and of peace. So imagine if we do that regularly, like if you do that every day or several times a day, at least a couple of times a day, that builds. So it becomes easier to achieve that state, right? So when we are not used to doing those things and we are very fast and stressed and always on the go, it is hard. A lot of people say, oh, I can't meditate, I can't quiet my mind, I can't do this, I can't do that. And then, but if you just focus on your breathing and you just try and you do it today and you do it tomorrow and you do it the next day, guess what? At some point, it will happen, it will click, and you'll be able to achieve that a little bit faster. And it's got amazing benefits. Imagine, a lot of people spend a lot of money on pills and tablets and courses and therapy. And I'm not knocking any of that. Everything that you can do to improve yourself is great. But a lot of that can also be achieved by prayer, by taking a moment to connect, or at least it will help in that journey. Like it will be another tool in your kit, right? Another thing that you can reach out for. Even when you are praying for someone else, you are helping yourself. You are giving. We're giving ourselves a moment, a moment to because our minds hardly ever stop. Sometimes, even when we sleep, we're still stressing about our day-to-day issues. Who hasn't woken up and had a dream about the same kinds of things that you worry about during the day, right? So it is just a really good thing to get in the habit of doing, is praying for ourselves, praying for others, and like Mother Teresa was saying, putting it in the hands of God, but also paying attention. Like sometimes we pray and we want a sign, but we want a sign like Paul in the road to Damascus, where he had the big bright light and he was blinded by it and his whole life changed. And that's not how it's going to happen, right? For most of us, that's not how it's going to happen. The signs will be a lot subtler, but they're not even that subtle. Sometimes they're right in front of our face, but we don't stop. We don't pay attention. We don't notice. So those moments of prayer, of connection, of rest that we give our minds, often provide us that space that we need to actually see certain things, right? So sometimes it's when we walk away from a problem and then we go to sleep, go for a walk, go have a glass of water, and then we come back and then something comes up. So that can also happen with prayer. And again, maybe not immediately, but it most certainly helps to get our minds in order, right? Prayer also benefits us emotionally, right? Because on top of the peace that we feel just by the act of stopping and praying and connecting, when we pray for the good of others, we feel good about ourselves. And it gives us a sense of purpose. It gives us positive feelings. So it has been very well documented with volunteers, with people who will step up and help others in moments of crisis, that the person who is doing the helping often gets even more out of the whole situation than the person who is receiving the help, right? Because it makes them feel good about themselves, right? It is in our true nature to want to be helpful, to want to be of service to God, to those around us, right? But we don't always let our true selves out. We have to live by society's rules, and we have all these sort of personas and these social masks that we wear. But deep down, our true selves want to be helpful, want to be good, want to make other people happy. And not only society and the personas, but sometimes because of circumstances or maybe just the way we feel, some of us might feel like we don't have a lot to offer, right, to other people. And we think, well, we'll let other people help because, they've got money and they're clever and they've got time and energy. But again, anyone and everyone can offer a prayer. It's interestingly one of the greatest gifts that we can give while also being one of the most accessible, right? So, of course, if someone is hungry, they need a plate of food as well. But we can't always reach out personally, especially, when we are worried about someone who's very far away, or maybe you're in a country right now where there's a lockdown, there's social distancing, and, but we can always offer a prayer. And as we mentioned before, the prayers always will have a positive effect. So, it's the gift that everyone can give. And we feel good about it, and the other person benefits from it. And then prayer also benefits us spiritually, because when we pray, especially when we pray for others, it is an act of charity. And charity is one of the pillars of every spiritual belief or religious faith. So it unites us in a true sense of community, which one day we'll live in a true community, right? Not little groups and little gatherings of people who are like-minded, but just in general. But when we can actually gather together physically and really mix our energies and send them out to where it's needed, that is incredibly powerful. So that is why people, well, that's one of the reasons. There are many reasons, but that is one of the reasons why praying all together is just, it is so powerful. But, if that is not available to us, we can do it virtually, such as today, because really, I think I mentioned that at the start, our limitations are just because there's a lot that we still don't know that we can do. Because the more we find out about our resources and our possibilities, the more amazing stuff we can do. So we've realized, especially over the last year, that, you can still join your energies and be together without being physically in the same place. So we can do it. We can gather, in online platforms. We can actually, so you can organize if you can't get together with your prayer group, but you can organize for everyone to be together at the same time. You can all connect, or you don't have to if you know the time and the topic, and you all focus and you all concentrate and you all direct your energies to the same place. It has the same effect. We are so much more powerful than we think, and together we truly are stronger. So, the power of prayer, when we do it individually, as Jesus said, in our own room and in our own interior is great, but also when we can do it with other people and we gather. So this energy that we send mixes with everyone else's. And when it gets to the intended person or situation, it is just that much stronger. So in Melbourne, if you speak Portuguese, our Spirit Center is back to in-person activities. We have to bring them back gradually because, there were many restrictions, and they're being lifted little by little. So as they lift the restrictions, we increase our activities, right? But the English is still just online, but the Portuguese is already back in person on Saturday afternoons. So I think at the moment, the only thing that you have to do is you have to book to go there. But it's do get there if you're able to. But if you're not, there are so many other ways that you can join together. In that energy in prayer. And what else do I want to say? And also, sometimes, we stop praying. And why do we stop praying? Oftentimes it's because we're disappointed either on the lack of perceived results from our prayers or the general state of things around us, whether that's in our house, in our homes or in our communities, in our workplace, in our country, in the world in general, sometimes people get a bit disheartened, right? And they stop praying. They can't be bothered. And, I touched on this a couple of weeks ago in my last chat, but it bears revisiting, because basically we cannot expect that a situation that was created by our own bad habits be fixed by prayer alone without us also fixing the bad habits that created it. Right? I hope that made sense. If you need to listen to it again, feel free to rewind. But basically, if we created a situation, be that with our health, with our relationships, with our profession, even with our faith, by doing certain things, we can't expect that situation to change without us making some changes as well. They say that, isn't that like the definition of insanity, expecting a different result whilst doing the same thing or something like that? So prayer, even in these situations, can give us a momentary relief. But if we must do our part to be able to affect any degree of change in any type of situation we are unhappy with, right? So if we're praying about something that we are unhappy with in our lives, we need also to do our part if that's something that we need to change. So prayer is going to give us courage, it's going to give us strength, it's going to give us patience, it's going to give us a lot of things, but we need to physically, materially do something about things, right? And this is where a lot of people get disappointed because they expect it to just fall out of the sky. And, that's not usually how it happens. And when we are praying for other people, that is even more the case, right? Because people have their own free will, and sometimes their free will prefers to remain in the comfort zone of pain rather than going through the pain of having to change habits that are sometimes really deep-seated. So sometimes we think, I prayed so much and nothing happened. That is not true. Our prayers are never, ever unanswered, right? But like I said a bit earlier, sometimes the effects are not all that obvious, but they are there. They are there. And, and oftentimes it's us that are not following through. So, it doesn't take very much. So, it is just really easy to do. You don't just have to say words. You can, if you're praying for someone, you can imagine them smiling. You can imagine them healthy, happy. You can imagine giving them a hug. Maybe there's someone who are really far away and you miss them a lot. You imagine giving them a hug and just imagine what you would like to see. That energy and that love will reach them, and to reach them, you will flow through you. So you'll be filled with that goodness and then send it to someone else. What can be better than that? And I like to finish today with a really old song. I unfortunately can't sing it to you. You can imagine with this voice. And I also won't play it because Facebook is quite strict about music. So I'll read out a part of the lyrics. But, if you go ahead and then maybe listen to it in your preferred platform, it is so beautiful. It is an old song to this day. I often get emotional just listening to it. And the writer, Carol King, not sure, she said, and I quote, that this song was as close to pure inspiration as I've ever experienced. The song wrote itself. It was written by something outside of myself. It was written through me, right? So it's the song to me is the expression of what it means to have prayer in our lives. It's like being able to reach out to that friend that will always be there for us no matter what, no matter when. So Feel free to close your eyes. I'll go through a little bit of the song, not the whole song, You've Got a Friend, and then straight into our vibrations of today. And I did not keep my promise of being quick. I'm really sorry about that. So take a deep breath. When you're down and troubled and you need some loving care and nothing is going right, close your eyes and think of me, and soon I will be there to brighten up even your darkest night. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running to see you again. Winter, spring, summer or fall, all you have to do is call, and I'll be there. You've got a friend. Let's now imagine a bright white light starting from our hearts and shining full of our love and full of our best thoughts. And we'll imagine this light running through our veins, through every part of our bodies, and it's warm and it's loving and it brings us peace and well-being. It heals every part of our body that it touches. And we get to a point where we have so much light. It is emanating from us. It is reaching out all around us. And we're going to send all that light and love and good vibrations to our brothers and sisters who are going through tough times all over the world. Our love and our good vibrations are all joining together to reach those people who are sick, the ones who are afraid, the ones who are feeling desolate. We're going to imagine them being surrounded by this warm, loving light that we're sending straight from our hearts. We'll feel them being consoled by our positive vibrations, and we imagine them smiling and full of energy. And we'll send our loving light to all of those who have done wrong. They may be living the consequences of their acts, or those who are contemplating ending their lives or ruining it with vices. And those who we may not necessarily like or who are not in the right path, they're the ones in the greatest need of our guiding light, a guiding light to show them a better way. So we're going to light their path. We're going to fill their surroundings with this positive vibration and this loving light. And because these people are everywhere, our love and our light and our positive vibrations are reaching all around our planet, so we can imagine our beautiful Earth completely enveloped by our good vibrations. All around the world, all the way back to us, to our house. Our house is filled with light, with love, with positivity, and everywhere around it as well. And as we come back to our bodies, we make a note of how we are feeling right now, how that little moment of prayer and of connection made us feel, and perhaps we can carry, if that feeling is positive, we can carry it with us everywhere. You may open your eyes back up. Thank you again for your time. Thank you for sharing this moment with us. And I hope you have a wonderful week. Next week, there'll be another chat with another topic and another speaker. And I hope you have a great week. And until then, take care. Much love.